In this video, we are going to see a simple tutorial based on REST API. We are going to use Spring Boot for creating REST API. Let's see what is REST. REST or Representational State Transfer is an architecture style for providing standards between computer systems on the web for making the communication to the service provider and the consumer. The uniform interface is a fundamental to design a RESTful web services that uses HTTP methods or standards. HTTP is an application level protocol that uses methods to communicate between clients and servers. The HTTP methods are get, post, put, and delete. As we know, simple web applications provide normally the crude methods for creating, retrieving, and updating and deleting a record. So, we are going to implement all this method in a REST API. Now, let's see what's the meaning of every methods and how we can use this method inside an application. So in our next slide here we are going to see how communication is established between client and server. We use the REST architecture for this. Clients and sends request to retrieve or modify a resource, and then the server takes the request and sends a response. Making requests deals with the following points. REST requires that a client make a request to the server in order to retrieve or modify the data. A request generally consists of an HTTP verb, which defines what kind of operation to perform, a header which allows the client to pass along information about the request, a path which is given here. As you can see, URL employees. These are employee is a noun here. An optional message body containing the data. We are going to see this in our REST API project as well. HTTP verbs are nothing but a request to interact with the resource. These are get, post, put, and delete. Now let's see the first one, that is the post. We are going to start with creating a new resource. This is my first is create. Post is used to submit data to be processed on a specific resource. Here request, the controller gives a request and the provider provides the output or response. So we are going to implement this using Spring Boot. So let's start by creating a project using STS. The link for downloading and installing STS will be provided in the description. So here I'm going to give the name for my project, REST app. We can have a package name here. I'm going to use the same package name. I'm going to change the artifact. This will be my project name. You can also have the name and the artifact same or different. Here we can have a description for the project. It's not mandatory, it's optional. Demo project for Spring Boot REST API. Here I'm going to use the package org mypack and my project name. This will be my base package. So here this will be package name. Here I'm using Maven. Then next, here I'm going to add the dependencies. So I need Spring Web. This will have all the core jars. Second, we have to communicate with the database. So we are going to use MySQL driver. And the third one is Spring Data JPA for writing the queries or establishing ORM, Object Relational Mapping. Spring Data JPA. So click and select.